to me. John 105.7 Light FM. Hi there, that's Billy Joel. I'm Morning Dave. It's 8:39 here, 21 before 9. Let's check in and see what's going on with your money on Wall Street. This is that day of the week since the coronavirus crisis started that nobody looks forward to, because it's the day in which the federal government releases the prior week's first-time unemployment claim count. Phillip Statler on the line from Statler Financial Services, and as expected, it was El Stinko, but everything being relative, it was a relatively small miss, wasn't it, Phillip?
Yeah, when it comes to jobs, it was, Dave. It was one of those things that definitely better than, well, I won't say better than expected, but better than probably you and I thought it would be in terms of what the unemployment would, first-time claims would look like.
Yeah, we're kind of into that mode of investor reaction of, hey, it could be worse, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm going to tell you, one of my concerns is I'm pretty impressed with the way the governor's handled most things, but there's one place I think we're really falling behind here in Florida. We're not paying our people unemployment. I think I saw this morning, less than 8% of the folks out there have actually gotten their unemployment claims. And that's not good. I mean, that's not helping our economy at all. That's not helping our people.
OMG. I didn't know it was that low. I mean, it's traditionally, I've always heard that after you claim for the first time in Florida, it's at least 2 weeks before you're eligible for getting your first check in, which kind of makes those quick stimulus payments darn near lifesavers for a lot of people. But I had no idea that it was done only 8% having gotten it. And we're still fighting with the increased server farm they put in for the computers and the telephone situation at the unemployment comp division. It has not been, it's going to be unpleasant no matter what, but it has not been a smooth crash by any measure for folks that lost their jobs.
No, it's not, and I think that's one place that Florida has fallen really short in our people, and a lot of people have gotten the stimulus check from the IRS, but there's a lot of people that still haven't. We get calls all the time. They're upset because they haven't gotten their stimulus, as if we have something to do with that. But so I don't know. There are still a lot of people out there, Dave, that have not gotten their stimulus check yet.
Well, among those that didn't are those of us that had to pay in because we didn't do the direct deposit thing, so they don't have it automatically on their computer. Those of us that had to do the pay in thing, we're going to wait for snail mail, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There are some things you can go in and put your direct deposit information in there. It may come a little faster than the check, but not a lot.
Yeah, we know it's coming. We just don't know when is the bottom line. To quantify it, because we were walking around it, the first-time unemployment claim number was 4.4 million first-time unemployment claims last week, and we were kind of doing gallows humor on that because the miss from most of the analysts you follow was about by 200,000. So from 4.2 to 4.4 sounds like a small miss, until you consider that 200,000 is the entire week's first-time claims. Until we started this mess, we missed by a full week's load. That's another way of putting it. It sounds like a little bit bigger miss, doesn't it?
It does, and it's it was better than last week, though, right? Last week was over 5 million, and I think the other thing I looked at too, Dave, was the 4-week average. It did push the 4-week average up some 200,000.
Yeah, we've got it's a mess. There's just absolutely no two ways about it. Other macro information that we got in this morning, they measure something called the PMI index, Purchasing Managers Index. We'll get it out of our country probably next week, but the Eurozone fell to the lowest number since they've been keeping records. It was down by more than 50% last month. And again, that's the last month's number, which means they basically only got about half the month over there included in the virus crisis over in Europe. So kind of a harbinger of things to come for our economy as we get our monthly reports in.
That's true. It's that is going to be one of those things that we look at, that PMI report. There's some other things coming out too. We're going to have Michigan sentiment, that the consumer sentiment. I think that's going to be interesting coming out. I think that comes out tomorrow sometime. And we have new housing sales comes out sometime this morning. It may be after we get done today.
If memory serves, the housing numbers have a tendency to come out about 10 o'clock our time, so that'll be something that we'll have to watch and discuss tomorrow morning. So far, the early indications we had from the first 2 weeks of this mess is there wasn't an immediate crash in the housing market that at the very least we detected right off the bat.
You're right. I mean, we're seeing the numbers have been relatively stable considering the economic impact that we're going through. But let's remember, we really only had 3 weeks for the most part of last quarter or even last month that was even starting to be effective. Hey, I did want to mention this before I forgot. We were talking about jobs, and one of the headlines you and I saw was kind of interesting, is that we have now given back all of the jobs that we created since the Great Depression.
Poop.
not good, but it is an interesting fact.
Yeah, it is. It just gives you a scope of just how fast and how deep that our job crisis came up. It was fast, without a doubt, and it was deep as well. Setting the table this morning, we were up yesterday in anticipation of what we're not sure of, probably the good news out of Congress that they're tentatively agreeing to some additional relief. Dow was up by 456, NASDAQ was up by 232, Standard & Poor's was up by almost 63, and in addition to the macro numbers, we're in the middle of earnings season, so they're going to be moving the market a little bit as well. We had some household names reporting, didn't we?
We did. We had some interesting numbers come in. We had Eli Lilly come in, the drug maker. They had a good quarter. They beat by over 30 cents a share. Revenue was boosted by $250 million due to COVID-19. So, I mean, even though that's a bad thing, it's helping some companies because of the pharmaceutical industry as a whole. They are getting a little bit. I think they're getting a little bit of a bump. Here we go. They were flat earlier, but now they're up about a little over 0.5% this morning, Dave. I would imagine
any of the pharmaceutical companies have a pretty good outlook because I'm sure they're all working their keisters off on trying to find a vaccine.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I had another one. No other earnings. I had some information that came in on a couple of them, but the other one I have is Pulte Group, which is the home builder. They came in about 4 cents above estimates. Revenue was basically in line. They talk about their consumer side. Sales really started slowing down about mid-March, and they are one of the companies that has suspended their guidance because of COVID-19. They are trading up this morning about 1.8% right now.
I have a sneaking hunch that any company that actually does have guidance issued is going to merit the headline lately, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And you wonder how much they're really guessing at it, and how much it'll hurt them down the line if they miss substantially. So,
really,
you know what? Everybody's staying home, but they're not buying chocolate.
They're not buying what?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Hershey's missed by 8 cents a share.
Whoa.
Yeah, Hershey's missed by 8 cents a share. Revenue came in below forecast by a little bit. They did declare their regular dividend. They believe they have sufficient liquidity to meet their cash needs and to weather this storm. They're trading down almost 4% this morning.
People, put down the box of wine and go buy a candy bar.
Hey, on the financial side, we've got Blackstone, private equity firm. They missed by about 4 cents a share. Again, they're writing down some investments in their portfolio because of everything that's going on. They did increase their fees by 20% compared to a year ago. They're trading up 2% this morning.
All righty. Resetting the table update yesterday on Wall Street. The futures overnight were just herky-jerky based upon every rumor they got what the jobless claims number was going to look like. 45 minutes before we open, Phillip, which way we heading so far this morning?
Dave, we are seeing a bounce. Before you and I went on the air, we were basically going green, red, back and forth. We have gone back to green pretty well here. We're up about 0.25% on the Dow, about 0.5% on the S&P 500, and 0.5% on the NASDAQ. So those indexes are looking pretty good this morning. if we flip over to the commodity side, we're seeing some green ink there too. Silver's up a little over 2%, and gold's up 0.5%. So good news there. Crude oil, I guess you got to be happy about crude oil. It's up 21% this morning to $16.65 a barrel right now, Dave.
Wow, it only needs to triple in price before we can start drilling again over in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. So we still have a long way to go. Don't get me wrong, but at least it looks like maybe it's going in the right direction right now.
It's heading in the right direction anyway, albeit a long way from where it needs to be. Overseas markets, green ink in the Asian rim, but when they closed early this morning, we're a little mixed, just a tinge either side of the zero sign in the Eurozone markets this morning. Phillip, it's one of those times where advice from a third party without a bias is always needed. That's what you do for a living. How do I get a hold of you to try to figure out how to make my way through this murk?
Dave, it's important that people understand how much risk they have in their portfolio. Give us a call at 863-382-0037 to get an idea of what the risk looks like and what kind of buckets of risk you have within your portfolio. Again, that's 863-382-0037. Hey, like us on Facebook at Statler Financial Services, where we post these every day with Dave, and then join us every weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Sunday mornings on News Talk 730 a.m.
And streaming at newstalk730am.com all at a time, and on the News Talk 730 app on your cell phone as well, I might want to add.
Exactly. Hey, I appreciate it. Y'all listen in and get some good information.
Phillip, thank you so much, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Be well, all right?
Thanks, man.
Thank you. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Remember that first paycheck when you started working all those years ago? You're finally out on your own.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, buddy.
You be well, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, man. You too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.